It is, and that's the part of explaining it to voters who, it's like, a lot of people, especially undecided voters, and I call them Republican light because MAGA has really drawn that line in the sand for Republicans. So it's like there are a lot of Republicans who are willing to, they'll hold their nose, but they'll vote.
That's what I'm saying. You need to look at the unaffiliated.
Yeah, unaffiliated's massive.
It's growing because I think
yeah,
they think they're trying to say it's because of Democrats. The Republicans are, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to say that it's because, I think it's both.
Yeah.
In Kansas,
I was like,
federally it's both, right?
Yeah.
Federally it's both. But in Kansas specifically, I don't think it is.
Yeah.
I think the influx, because we have seen a major influx in unregistered, unaffiliated voters here.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's from the Democrats abandoning the Democrat Party here. I think either they've abandoned them already or they're not, or they're like diehard Democrats. There's not a lot of people jumping ship from Democrats right now in Kansas. So
because there's a lot more effort, and granted, we saw a single instance of it on Tuesday with Thomas Massie, even though he was still trying to vie for Trump's love again. So there's a lot more internal reform in the Democratic Party than there is in the Republican Party at this moment. There's a lot more in the Democratic Party because it is, as much as it hasn't been at the national level, it is the best party to be to be the vessel for meaningful change for Americans.
Here for what? Okay, so the Republican Party got taken over by the Tea Party. They set the foundation that gave us MAGA, right?
Yeah.
And I think that the Democrats never had that takeover of the progressives. It was always this pressure from the outside, and some people would go in. And so I don't think that there's been like a real active takeover of the Democratic Party by a serious amount of progressive people.
Yeah.
But I think that now, like I was saying, that this is special timing. I think that, and it's not that I want to rail against the Democrats, but I think that a lot of the problems that people have, as somebody that was a vote blue no matter who, for 15 years.
Yeah, you start to feel like your vote gets taken for granted.
It's like, I want to vote, and then Bernie, I don't know, were you 18? Was he the first?
Yes, I will say, a couple months after the 2018 primary, I realized actually Bernie's my guy. I did my first primary ever. I did vote for Hillary.
Yeah.
Even though Bernie ended up winning Kansas 2-1, by the way.
I was there.
Bernie was and then a couple months I was like, oh wait, this is actually what I believe, and Bernie is my But no, then after that 2020, I was doing work for. I was ready to do canvassing support for Bernie, and then he randomly cut his campaign in 2020.
I'm not
randomly.
Look, I'm not one to talk to people or leave my house if I can help it. Believe it or not, as I'm here talking to you. It's because I think this is important.
Yeah.
Okay. And but Bernie energized me in a way that I voted for Obama and I understood it and I felt good about it. But Bernie was the first time I'd ever had a candidate to vote for that I was going to cry if they won.
It was the first time for a lot of people.
I walked in a parade with a float for Bernie.
It was the first time in a long time people felt like it was a greater good vote than a lesser evil vote.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was finally somebody I wanted to vote for, and then they took it.
Yeah, and then an Obama phone call later.
I'm just saying, I was at the polls, working the polls, at the table, helping people change from Republican to Democrat.
Yeah.
Or unaffiliated to Democrat, and there were lines upon lines of young people.
Yeah.
College kids, just 2 lines, 20 people deep at all times.
It's so funny because it's one of the oldest.
And that was in Kansas.
Exactly.
So how did he not win? I just, what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
I actually have a book of his that he wrote before all that I was going to read. I bought it when I was killing time to support the library.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, I've never read this one. I read this newer one. But yeah, and I think that Kansas just takes a decade. They're always a decade behind.
Yeah, until Kansas is not, though. Kansas is weird. They thought this was going to be the testing ground for abortion rights getting removed in a public vote, and then we just said 60-40. So Kansas is weird.
I wrote this article called The Average Kansas Voter, and I looked at all the data that I could get from all the different precincts, 125 Kansas House districts.
Yeah.
And I found what the average voter is a middle-aged white woman.
Yeah.
I am the average voter.
Yeah.
And that is why abortion didn't pass.
Yep. Because you go out and exercise your right. A lot of white men are either, give or take, they're either going to really be passionate or they are completely unplugged in Kansas.
Yeah.
And so the goal is to plug them in
Yeah, I haven't looked at the gender stats and gotten all that data of that vote, but I just know that a lot of people probably don't publicly support it, but they went in there and voted for it, or voted against. They want it. They just are going to not verbally be. Like,
there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of silent dissent.
Yeah,
to keep it dissent.
You know what I'm saying. You guys know what we're saying.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, you pay attention to Kansas politics. You know what I'm saying. But yeah, and then I found it really interesting going out and talking to the people that are running in the rural districts. I drove out to Hayes and talked to Mark Shakowitz. It's running out there in 110.
Okay.
And there are a lot, so most of the people are registered Republican, but that doesn't really mean anything because when you're out there and no Democrats run, your race is the primary. That is your election. So if you want to voice at all, you got to be registered Republican.
Yeah.
So it doesn't.
That's so many Democrats in my now. I've been,
I just switched to Democrat from unaffiliated so that I could be. I didn't have to be a campaign manager. I just thought that I should probably be a registered Democrat if I was going to be a campaign manager.
Yeah.
And I had looked into doing
this. Feels right. Yeah.
I had looked into being a PCP because that was a big thing. In 2016, that was my thing. I was trying to get PCP positions filled because there was only 75 when there were supposed to be like 900.
Oh, damn.
And those, I didn't even know what they were. I didn't even know they existed until 2016. And they're supposed to be like 900 and something people at the foundation of the party in Kansas. And they're not there.
Yeah.
And you should already have at least 2 volunteers per precinct in your district because you should have a man and a woman in each precinct. And then they should have at least 5 people each. So you should have 7 to 10 people already in each precinct ready to go to vote, to knock doors for you. But because that foundation isn't there, and that foundation is there on the Republican side, because that's what the Tea Party did. They came in and they took over precincts. What I did was look and see what they did and be like, let's do that. And then the Democratic Party was like, because I went in there, I'm taking you over. And they were like, no, you're not. And I was like, you're right. I'm not. And then I licked my wounds for a decade and I'm back. But I think that now there's more support for, I don't want to say take over the Democratic Party, but I think that they're ready for some real progress and change within the party.
Yeah.
Or a legitimate third one or none. Yeah. I would be happy with either of those options as well.
Yeah. I think part of the thing that I think progressive is the best cohesive label we've ever had when it comes to reforming the Democratic Party, because before you still have the DSA, there was the Green Party for a little bit, and then there was always, it seemed to be like 2 or 3 different flavors at any given point, and now I think for the most part there's been a lot of rebranding, a lot of like organizing. Okay, we're just progressives. We all have these bullet points, these baselines now. So
have you looked at the United Kansas Party at all? Have you heard about them?
I've not. No.
Yeah. They're a legitimate third party in Kansas now.
Oh, okay.
And that's pretty amazing.
They got enough votes to...
Yeah, what they want is fusion voting. So they want you to be Democrat. You can be Democrat, Republican, and United Kansas Party. It's really fascinating work. I interviewed Aaron Estabrook. He's running in 66 up in Manhattan as a United Kansas Party candidate. Okay. And so I think it's amazing that they
pulled it off,
a legit third candidate. That's a step forward in something, man. You know what I mean? I would just wish we just voted for people.
Yeah.
And that Ann Paracar had a great idea. She said we should just give each person that wants to run at a certain amount of money, depending upon what level you're at.
Yeah.
And that's the money you get. You can't campaign. You can't take more money. This is it.
That's other countries. Our interpretation of democracy is very interesting compared to a majority of other democratic countries.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know that.
So we're not going to see any attack ads coming out. Maybe Estes.
Yeah, I guess Estes. I have respectful opinions on some of the other people in my race, but
yeah.